Dueling Dragons at this year's Halloween Horror Nights is based off of a ride from Islands of Adventure that ran from 1999 to 2010 as Dueling Dragons. The backstory of this house is really exceptional because it ties all the way back to the story of the ride itself with all of its already existing lore, which we've now brought over and made into a house, which we get to walk through and experience in real life. Merlin was cursed by the Lady of the Lake with the spell which turns him into a tree, the Enchanted Oak to be precise, which of course was in Merlinwood as a restaurant that you could go to and get lunch with your family. The tree that we see when we first turn the corner to see the house reveal, that entrance reveal, is actually a replica of the front of that restaurant. It is so cool. It's beautifully lit at night. We have harsh lighting right now in the day, but it is gorgeous, and you can see Merlin's face in that, beautiful enchanted oak tree. It's absolutely breathtaking when you come around that first corner. So we enter through the mouth of the enchanted oak into a magical forest. There's beautiful details in the mushrooms, there's plants, and it actually is really beautiful. If you ever rode the ride, though, you're going to notice that is actually how the queue started. And from this point forward, we're going to find ourselves moving through basically a replica of the queue all the way through to the point where we get to choose our fate. It is right after we make our way through the forest and several scares that have already been there that we get our first encounter with Pyrock and Blizzrock, and they're actually fighting one another, or they're trying to stop the other one from being able to get to the Spellbook. A nice detail that you're going to see in this house, though, is the costuming. It is absolutely phenomenal. One really cool detail that's been brought into the HHN houses this year is that some of the costumes have lighting inside the costume itself, and it works beautifully in this house with the ice being represented with a white-blue light, and of course the fire with red and oranges and such. They first brought it in during the Mardi Gras parade this last spring, and now we're getting to see it inside of our HHN houses. As the goal is to get to the castle and protect the Spellbook, we now move into the front of the castle itself. I gotta tell you, this could have been the facade all by itself because it is so unbelievably beautiful. It's enormous. The scale is on point. I mean, you've got a little bridge that you go over, there's a little moat, you've got the turret with a dead maiden hanging out of it, which just speaks to the fact that no one is safe, everyone is in the way. Anyone who gets in the way of these two warlocks is going to be in trouble and could very well end up dead, and you know who's right in the middle of it all? You and I. That's right. So we are definitely in danger, and everything that we're seeing around us is kind of telling us that not only are we entering a castle, we're really fully inside of this world, but also danger is definitely all around us. The details throughout are unreal. Something I always like to share with people who are trying to decide about whether or not they want to go on this tour is that when you move through the house at night during HHN, you get about between maybe 3 and 5 minutes tops in each house. But when you do this tour, you're in these houses for between 20 and 30 plus minutes, just breaking down information, details, learning the backstory, learning what creative was going for when they put this together, what type of scare this is, how this works. It is absolutely fascinating. And one of the aspects of that stands out, I think, to everyone the first time they do it is how much detail you seemingly never even see. Some details are even within the boo holes, and it's pitch black back there. There's no way you're going to see it. However, it needs to be there. It needs to be there in order to fully round out how real the world you're walking through is. Even if your conscious mind isn't taking it in, your subconscious mind is, and it helps to completely envelop you and allow you to fully fall into that story and fall into that reality. And this house does not disappoint when it comes to those types of fantastic details. We finally get our first sighting of Merlin's Spellbook. So we have the 3 large stained glass windows, again, as we're seen in the queue of the original ride. The Spellbook itself actually has a light inside of it when you go through at night so that some of the words are glowing out. The spells are glowing so that you can kind of catch them with your eye. We have 2 really great encounters with Pyrock and Blizzrock before they've become dragons in this room. You can see here we've got Blizzrock. These are unbelievable. I gotta tell you, this little mannequin or whatever version of Blizzrock is absolutely awesome, but the scare actor costumes I think are even better. As part of the original queue, you moved through the castle and heard the story of what happened once the 2 warlocks became dragons, and they're still battling one another, right? You ride the roller coaster, you're still in that great battle. So when we're moving through the house, we see that Pyrock is destroying everything within this space. But Blizzrock is flying over and breathing his ice breath down from the sky. And so we get an even more awesome effect right here with these Chevet fog machines that blow very thick blasts of direct fog that replicates the idea of like a dragon's ice breath down into the room that you're in, this great sort of hall room that you're in, through the ceiling and seeming to freeze everything. So you get both the fire when you first walk in with an incredible fire effect that unfortunately I just couldn't get a picture of. But as you enter and move more into the room, you see the icicles and you see things frozen. You also get the frozen nights hanging up in the sky. It's absolutely awesome. It's a nice space, lots of good scares through here, and really breathtaking effects happening that kind of really surround you and make you feel like, again, you are in this battle. These things are happening all around you. Some may even notice the little unicorn banner, which in Merlinwood, which was the land that Dueling Dragons was in Islands of Adventure, there was yet another roller coaster called the Flying Unicorn. And so we get a little nod over here with that banner. So next, of course, again, following that cue, we're going to start seeing some skulls and a whole entire basically bone room, which I guess is what they're calling this. And it, again, part of the queue, we get to walk through this space. It's really dark in here, but really elaborate. The details are really cool. The one big skull has the heed me sign, you know, the wording behind it, a warning to anyone going further down into the caves that danger lies ahead. Like, heed me, see what your fate will be if you continue down into these caves. But trust me, you're going to want to keep going, because now we're going to enter into what I can only call sort of the grand space. Well, there's good scares in this space, so try your best. I know you're scared, but look up, because in this room you have the dragon form of Pyrock in full just beauty. This thing is huge, and of course, sitting right across from him, you have got Blizzrock, and these two both have the ability to blow that breath, you know, that directed fog from those Chevet fog machines down to, you know, the ground level where you are, of course, blinding you for the most part from any other scares, which of course are coming your way. And right after that, you enter into a space where there is a wall that lights up. Unfortunately, I could not get a good photo because it wasn't lit, that says, "Choose thy fate." And this is really one of the coolest parts of the house. So this is where, back when you rode the roller coaster, you would choose, do you want to ride the ice dragon or do you want to ride the fire dragon? And you would pick. And from there, your queue split into two different queues. Well, guess what? The house does the same thing. You're going to get to choose. Do you want to go down Blizzrock's way or do you want to go down Pyrock's way? And you're going to have different endings based on the choices you make. You actually have the chance to have 4 different endings to this house. And as a little special nod, yes, the ice dragon portion is a little bit longer, just as the queue was back in the day, which you gotta love that. So what are those 4 different endings? You're gonna move through and you're gonna come back up into where there's an area, and it kind of almost seems like, you know, you can tell which dragon has taken over or seemingly won the Spellbook, right? You're in a room that is all covered in ice, or one that has just kind of been burnt to heck and back. And so when you get up there, you're either going to see Blizzrock in all his glory holding the head of Merlin like he is victorious, he has won the Spellbook. Or if you go Pyrock's way, you're going to see him, same situation, except he is now won and he is holding the head of Merlin. Or it's also possible that you go down Blizzrock and you don't see anything and you think, darn it, I missed the scare. What's going on? But then out from around behind the corner comes Merlin himself to congratulate you on the victory of, you know, not allowing the dragon to get the book. And, you know, he's really happy. You're really happy. We did a little happy dance with him. It was absolutely awesome. I think that the highlight for me was the Blizzrock costumes. I thought they were absolutely unbelievable. I really love that the lore of this house is so original and deep, with years of memories that they're playing on and bringing in to create an amazing experience, especially those who remember the ride. I think that this is just a little love letter back to those fans, back to those loyal Universal guests who come back year after year, and they're getting to have something that just really speaks. I mean, think about it. It's been a minute, and they're, you know, you're thinking back. These are like childhood, late childhood, whatever memories for a lot of people, and that makes it so much fun. I think this one's going to pull on some heartstrings and become a quick favorite.